What up, though, family? Long time no see, huh? This is Fibonacci Brown coming to you on June 16th, Juneteenth, 2018. And I know it's been a while, but I wanted to come on here today because something caught my attention on social media. And I thought it was a good topic to address. I thought it was a good topic to talk about. And, without further ado, here it goes. So I'm looking at this post, and in a nutshell, the post said that basically black women traded the black male discipline and authority in the home for welfare and child support. And I was already kind of taken aback, like, oh, that seems pretty bold to me to say. But it was further complicated by a commenter who agreed and said that basically not only was that true, but the government put the bait of welfare and child support out there, and the black woman took the bait. They took the bait, they were tricked, and they gave in, and it's so bad now that black women don't even care who they procreate with because they will have the government just take care of the babies. So they're not even selective with who they make babies with. And I was floored. Yeah, I just, not only was I already, taken aback by the original post, but it was even more insulting to read this commenter, what this commenter had to say. And I couldn't really get with that. And, a commenter said that it was just, this is a cycle. It's virtually impossible to reverse, because a black woman fell for this trick and this bait that the government threw out there. And, I asked this guy, why is it so easy for some black men to point the finger at the black woman as being stupid and falling for this bait, than to look in the mirror and own their part and why the black woman had a reason to even look at that bait in the first place? And I'm not saying all black men, let's not even have that conversation. Let's not even go there. I'm talking about the black men who feel like this is a real reason to point the finger at the black woman as this being her role in the problem with us as black people. Now, I'm not trying to say that black women don't have some work to do and have some corrections to current behavior that they need to make. I'm definitely not saying that. And anybody who knows me knows that is definitely not my position. But what I can't do is allow black men with this line of thinking to be okay with pointing this finger at her and not acknowledging their contribution to our destruction when this bait was put out there. And I mentioned in my comment to this particular poster, I said that why don't, when I say look in the mirror, when I tell black men who think like this to look in the mirror, there was a bait out there for you too. And for as far back as we can choose to research, there has been a partnership, willingly or unwillingly, between the government and the criminal element in urban communities. And black men who think like this, have been attracted to the balling black man lifestyle since the 50s. The 50s. And being attracted to that element was in direct contrast to entrepreneurial endeavors in these urban black communities, simply because in the criminal element, cash was a lot faster and success seemed to come a lot quicker. And that lifestyle attracted more of a criminal element that ultimately pushed out entrepreneurial businesses in black communities in partnership with the government and unfair governmental practices for business in black neighborhoods, whether it's a Tulsa bombing or an unfair law that doesn't allow black businesses to obtain necessary permits to conduct businesses in their communities. So I mentioned that to him because if you're going to point the finger at the black woman for taking the bait of welfare and child support, you need to address why she had a reason to look at that as an option in the first place. And, you know, the other bait that black women were supposed to have taken was this bait that the white woman had oppression from her male counterpart. And this feminist movement was created that tricked black women into believing there was a true partnership between white women and black women against patriarchal unfairness. And that too is insulting, because the feminist movement was an idea taken from a black empowerment group for women and perverted into what we're calling the feminist movement right now. And the black women didn't take a bait from the white woman. She had a reason to look in that direction. And when you look at what was going on around that time in black communities, you'll see what I'm talking about. I'm a Detroit girl. So as far back as the 50s, there's been a criminal element, a fast cash lifestyle from selling dope and everything that comes with that. Reckless sexual activities, killing, crime, shooting, stealing. All of that has been going on since the 50s. And we have been on a loop ever since, doing the same things that perpetuate this behavior, that further push out opportunities for black businesses in urban communities, because the criminal element is so bad. Black women didn't do that. Black women were not out here selling drugs, killing each other. That wasn't us. And while you want the black women to own taking welfare and child support to take care of babies that they were left with, own the detriment to the community as a black man that was brought on by this attraction to fast cash as a form of success and longevity. And seeing how no matter how that plays out, it ends in the same thing, death or jail. But we'll stay in this loop. Since the 50s, we'll stay in this loop. You know, by the time this loop was turning in a way that it could be repeated, you look up in the 70s and you see black exploitation films. Well, those black exploitation films were perpetuating a lot of the lowest vibration of us at the time. That loop turned into some of the music that came out again 20 years later in the 90s, being disrespectful to women, calling women out of their name. This was men doing this. And then 20 years later, we look up and what's in our movie theaters? How many of you guys are going to see Superfly? Like, we need more of that. So we've been on a loop. And I'm saying to black men with the thought process that I was talking about earlier, that you cannot keep on this loop just feeling like it's satisfactory to point the finger at the black woman for taking welfare and child support. Now, I'm not saying every black woman who takes those routes is taking it for the right reasons. I'm not saying that all of them are doing that. But what I am saying, that when you make blanket statements collectively about what black women do, when it comes to having to find ways to provide for their families. You can't exclude yourself as her counterpart as part of why she had to go that way in the first place. Black women are not out here tearing up our streets in gangs. That's black men. Own that. You took a bait too. There was a bait out there for you. And taking that bait, taking the giving in to what you thought would be success. You know, you thought you would be the one guy that had the plan to make it out of the game. You know, staying on that loop has titty bars on every corner in urban communities, liquor stores, church and weed. Those are your most prominent businesses in the black community, and you don't even own those. You don't even own them. But you'll participate in those economic cycles that are a detriment to your community. And when it comes time to figuring out how to change it, you won't even look at yourself. You'll point at the black woman and say it's because of her acceptance of welfare and child support. That's not fair. That's not fair, and that's not right. And you have to stop thinking that the black woman was just stupid and fell for this bait. Black women are some of the oldest creatures on this planet. And you think the government and feminist movements and, you know, were just smart enough to trick her in that way without your contribution. That's not fair. That's not fair, and that's not right. And if we're going to heal, you have to be able to take ownership of your part. You can't address what you don't acknowledge. And if these black men who think like this are not willing to accept that many of the black businesses that we could have in our communities can't be successful or as successful as they could be because of the criminal element that is perpetuated by black men, if we can't put that on the table and talk about it, we can't heal. You can't just keep blaming black women. You can't keep pointing out all these horrible things about her and never looking in the mirror. You can't keep perpetuating that black men were doing everything correct, that black men were perfect disciplinarians and authoritarians in their homes, and the black woman just turned her back on him and took off for welfare, child support, and white feminist movements. You just don't get to do that because it's just not fair and it's just not true. So I'm not trying to bash black men. I love black men. I want to see you win. But we have to be able to have the right conversation. And you can't I can't have a healthy conversation with someone who refuses to even acknowledge their contribution to the subject matter. Stop saying that about your woman, black man. Stop saying she fell for the bait, because it's almost like the pot calling the kettle black. There was a bait out there for you too. And unfortunately, that bait is more prevalent right now than any bait that you say the black woman took. Because that bait that you took is the economic system of our communities. The titty bars, the liquor stores, the weed sales, the gas stations, criminal elements, smash and grabs, drive-bys. That's black men. Those are not black female economic systems. They're just not. You got to own that. You have to. We're not going to be able to heal pointing the finger at one side of this. And it's not, I'm not trying to bring this to your attention to point the finger at you to say, yeah, you did it too. I'm trying to get you to look in the mirror just like you want the black woman to look in the mirror. I'm saying this because I want us to heal together. It can be done. But no other race of women have to worry about their man abandoning them like black women do. And it's just too easy to say she was stupid. And because it's too easy, it doesn't even make it as an option in your mind to look at yourself and say, how did I contribute to this? What was the black man doing at the time? Black exploitation films weren't popular just because they were mysterious and new. They were popular because they wanted to perpetuate a certain stereotype that was the lowest vibration of black people. And if you don't understand what I'm talking about, you can turn on VH1 and MTV right now and see Love and Hip Hop. It's the same thing. You see all of those stereotypes perpetuated. Putting on expensive makeup and clothes and riding around in expensive cars doesn't change the principle. We have been on a loop ever since the 50s. So I need us to own it so we can get over it. We're not going to get through this just blaming black women and making everything their fault and finding the lowest of our vibration to blame her. It's just not going to be a successful healing if that's the route that we want to take, saying it was her fault. It's our fault. And it's our issue to fix. And we're not going to fix it pointing fingers. And nobody is trying to bash you by pointing this out. I'm bringing it up because more often than not, I see this acceptance by the black man to just allow the black woman to be perpetuated as stupid and tricked. And it's just not, it's not fair and it's not true. So I felt the need to talk about this. Of course, you know, any of you who have watched some of my other videos, you know, I like the business aspect of certain things, and just looking at some of the downfall of black businesses in urban communities, it ties into all of this. And the criminal element is what is one of the things that contributes to the unsuccessful black businesses in urban communities. It's too hard to keep them open. You take too much risk and loss. And that criminal element is coming from our black men for the most part. We need you guys to own that before you start pointing the finger at black women about welfare and child support, you know. And don't get me wrong. I know that there are professional welfare women. I get that. I know that there are women who use child support to get back at men for hurt feelings and relationships gone bad. I get that. But all I'm saying is just let's put the conversation in the right context so we can get to some real solutions. I'm not going to condone on any level black women utilizing welfare as a career move. I'm not going to condone on any level black women using child support to hurt men that they had failed relationships with over hurt feelings that they can't seem to get over and feel like they're owed something for. I don't condone that on any level. I think women who do things like that are part of the problem. And I don't think that you can expect to have any healthy relationship with a man going forward if you have chosen to use the government to hurt black men as opposed to being a familyist, a builder of family. So, you know, I don't want this video to be taken out of context. So, you know, I just want us to be able to have a healthy conversation and line up some things that contributed to what we're trying to correct. So, all the way from Detroit, guys, it was good talking to you guys. I'm gonna try to do some more videos. I know my content hasn't been up there, but I'm finally in a space where I think I can, you know, give you some more content. I'm looking forward to it. I'm settled where I know that it'll be a lot easier to let subject matter flow. So I'm looking forward to having more chats with you guys. It's going to be a great day in Detroit today. It's going to be 84 degrees, sunny and beautiful. So, get out there, enjoy your Juneteenth, and I'll talk with you guys soon.